Hello, hello, everyone. I'm
Hey,
Wyatt, digital content creator. Everyone else, feel free to introduce yourself.
yeah, I'm David, work in marketing and sales.
And I'm Zach, working on products.
We're happy to have everyone here. Please let us know if you can hear us all right. The stream's coming through clearly. We've got a few exciting things to talk about today. First thing I want to discuss, though, is that we're running a big sale, the AVFXmas sale, and we're running 30% off on everything. So go now to the store, check it out, get your discount, get some good products, courses, bundles, whatever you want. It's just too good. Grab our 2025 bundle as well, including all our new assets that have dropped recently. Speaking of new assets, we have a few that have come out recently that Zach could discuss. So,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so we've had a lot of releases lately, actually, especially around and during Black Friday time. So, yeah, let's get you guys caught up on everything. What we have pictured here, we have some small fires. So, really, these were designed specifically because people were asking for something a little bit smaller than our ground fires and burning debris and the smaller fires that we did have. So these are even smaller. They're sort of like in between, like the size of a candle, a single flame. They're a little bit bigger than that, but still plenty smaller than the small ground fires that we have. And these can be used really to sprinkle throughout a scene. They can be used on small surfaces, small objects like grills and things like that. And they're just really made to be able to sort of sprinkle around, sort of build whatever size fire you need if you need something small, and just really easy to piece a lot of these together.
you hear that, Applebee's? Next commercial, Action VFX Assets. We've got you.
Hey, you never know. So we also, this one's a really exciting one. Had a ton of fun filming this. The Molotov cocktails. So this is something you all have been asking for a good while, and we finally were able to shoot them for real. So we got to go out one night and throw Molotov cocktails at this rig that we had set up with a large wall for them to shatter and explode on. So it was a ton of fun. It was actually much harder than you would think to get these to break and to behave the way we wanted them to, but it was a lot of fun. We had a pyrotechnician on set with us, handling everything to make sure we were safe and doing everything in the best way. But yeah, these are really cool. We have ones where they're impacting on the wall, impacting on the ground. We even have some that were failed. So like ones that hit the wall, bounced off the ground, and they didn't explode. And just plenty of real options for you. The camera angles, we have some from the front, we have some from the side as well, and sort of like a side angled uh, camera angle as well. So plenty of camera angles to choose from to fit in your scenes.
And these are really cool ones. Me and Tom have been playing with these a bit. I've been working on a comp of throwing one at a tank. And then Tom has been working little exclusive for everyone on the live stream. Tom has been working on a Stranger Things themed shot where he throws a Molotov at me in a costume, a monster costume, and it explodes against my chest. And so hopefully next live stream we might be able to show it to you guys.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. Zach, you mentioned these being hard to throw. Didn't you have some that went through the backboard before they actually exploded?
We did have some challenges with that. It was basically like some of the fuel would seep through different parts of the backdrop that we had constructed. And so you'd get fire in unexpected areas. Thankfully, nothing that was dangerous. We were able to, the pyrotechnician kept a close eye on that. But yeah, it was challenge after challenge for this collection. And they're much larger than you might expect. We had to dial it back on the fuel because some of these were getting 15 plus feet tall. So they were actually pretty massive.
And again, these are all 30% off right now. So if you want to check them out for yourself, this is the time to do it.
So we also have some gore textures. We do have an old collection of gore textures, but we went all out on this new collection. We're able to do a lot more with it. And these are ones that we basically had a makeup artist create a lot of nasty different wounds, cuts, scars, burns, and several different types of sort of generic wounds that could work for like a dog bite or just various different more abstract shapes. And so we photographed those. We actually photographed real world lighting passes. So we had a light rig set up to get like backlighting and side lighting. And what this allows you to do is basically treat these as a CG render. You can relight it in post and you can actually control where you want your light coming from. You could animate those lights so that you could even get some like flicker if you have somebody that's moving quickly and you have to track it onto them and you want the specular highlights to turn on and off depending on the way that they turn or move. You could animate all of that and add noise passes over like a single light pass so that you get some like flickering and different unique realistic results that you just wouldn't be able to get otherwise. And those come with those different light passes on all the different wounds. So you can even get very specific lighting if you had specifically backlighting and nothing else. You had like more of that silhouette, but it's still going to have like some of the cuts actually have some raised skin, prosthetic skin and stuff like that. So you actually get the glow, the skin, like that subsurface glow and subsurface scattering through that skin, which is really cool.
Zach, I think you're giving me ideas for my next tutorial. Just a bloody wound with rotating lights around it.
There you go.
Yeah. We've got a few more clips I think would be cool to look at.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some muzzle flashes.
Yeah, muzzle flashes, volume 3.
So yes, we finally were able to do volume 3 for muzzle flashes. We brought in some new muzzle devices, some different guns. We have actually a 50 caliber sniper where we included like a top down shot. So sniper shots, you're going to have angles covered, and this is specific to like that Barrett 50 caliber sniper where you have the big flames coming out both the front and directly out the sides. We have plenty of different automatic guns. The idea with this collection was that we were able to go more towards like the gritty look. So you'll see a lot of sparks. You're going to see some imperfect muzzle flashes in there as well, to where you may have some that are, we get like the bigger fireballs, and then we get some that are smaller. So it's going to add to that realism and the grittiness of firefights, and just really a lot of fun to play with. Latitude, like the exposure, these are shot really well to allow you to dial the exposure down if you need to, but you can also make it bright for like those nighttime shots. And they all sort of have like the muzzle device, the end of the gun that's visible just enough to where you can line it up with your gun very easily, and also that you can actually see the fire coming out of like the small ports and different things like that. So really fun to make those. Comes with both automatic and semi-automatic animations, where it's not single frames. It's not just like a flash and then it's gone. We actually have sparks flying through the air and everything. And we also have pistol muzzle flashes. These are still images that you can just use as a single frame and add to pistols, small guns, and things like that.
Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like filming it? Because I see in these clips, looks like you guys had a whole rig set up.
Yeah, so we had the camera set up for various different angles. So of course, there's a lot of safety protocols we have to follow there to make sure that we're not in any sort of danger. We are using blanks, but even with blanks, there's always the potential for safety issues. So we made sure we were all out of the way. We had remote triggers for the cameras and everything like that, so that we could control all of that remotely. And the rig that we built allowed us to repeatedly shoot the same exact take. This time we were using global shutter cameras, which gave us a benefit of, one, we could shoot a lot more confidently that we were going to get a great shot, because with rolling shutter cameras, like most digital cameras are, even a lot of like the Reds, those are rolling shutter. You may get half of a muzzle flash in one take, and you may get a full muzzle flash in a take. This time we were able to use global shutter, so we had the full muzzle flash every single time. This also reduces, you don't have that global shutter look as that sort of warpy, distorted footage where part of the muzzle flash was recorded before the rest of it, because of the way the camera sensors read from the top to bottom. So everything was recorded at once. The muzzle flashes look better. And then that rig that we had, we were able to reproduce the same shot, the same angle every single time, which just made post-production a lot easier, and made sure that, everything that was shot for the angled or the off-center angle, that it was all just nailed down, same exact angle over and over again. And then Sam, he was on set. He was one of our firearms experts. He has training in that and has done a lot of work there in the past. And then we had another firearms expert on set handling all of the guns that were not being used at the moment. And we even made our own ammunition to get we created our own blanks to get the fire to look just the way that we wanted to, with the right amount of sparks and flames and smoke and everything like that. So that was a new aspect that we'd never done before, is making our own blanks.
Question: how loud was it? Because I was there for when we were doing the bullet ricochets with the sparks and everything, and that was pretty loud. But I imagine these had to be really loud.
Actually, these were quieter than those. That the pyrotechnician what he used for those spark ricochets actually was louder. So with blanks, it's not always as loud as a real gun because you don't have quite as much pressure buildup. So some of the blanks were pretty quiet. You could actually you could do it without ear protection on some of them. And then, of course, there were definitely some of them, the larger caliber weapons and stuff. Those were louder, but yeah, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, I remember I think it was a Corridor Digital video, they had shot with blanks for the first time, and they said one thing they didn't realize is there's that concussive force kind of from it.
Oh
And
yeah,
they're
for
shooting
sure.
it with a Barrett 50 cal blank, and they're like, we learned that if you put the camera too close, it'll break the lens because of the force from the muzzle flash going off.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that for sure. It's still a real gun. It's still real explosives, real powder, gunpowder. So safety is a top priority. It's plenty concussive, but I will say it's not as concussive as a cannon shooting a blank. Been there, done that. Yeah, now that's one that you can really feel.
We have we have a Canon collection,
Yes,
right?
yes, our Cannon Blast Volume 1.
Well,
We
I
shot.
figured those were CG. I didn't realize y'all shot.
It was a real cannon, and you could feel the concussion from that. You could feel it hit you in the chest from 100 feet away.
Because I wasn't there for that shoot, but I was at, I think it was a field trip in like elementary school. We went to an old town that was nearby, and they
Yeah.
had all the stuff from that time period.
Yep.
And they had a cannon and they lit it off. And I remember I thought I was good because I covered my ears, but it did it
Yeah.
felt like a blast going off in my chest.
Yeah. You can feel it, not just hear it.
It's stressful.
Zach, question. So if someone were to have both muzzle flashes Volume 1 and Volume 2, why would you say it's still a good idea for them to have Volume 3 kind of in their toolkit?
Well, we definitely brought in some new guns. So there's going to be some new shapes and sizes to the muzzle flashes. So if you find yourself using the same thing over and over again and you need something fresh, you need to add more variety to your collection to be able to get the results that you want, then that's one good reason. Like I mentioned, the sniper, the 50 caliber sniper, that's brand new. Some different assault rifle type guns. We also have an older gun this time, a World War II rifle in the mix. So that brings in some of those older looks that you might need for some of the reenactment, the older films, things like that. And like I mentioned, just the grittiness. There is a different look to these. Now, I'm not going to say it's like the craziest thing you've ever seen, because we still wanted it to be realistic and usable as a real muzzle flash, but we did specifically go for that more gritty, realistic look with these. There's both some like realism in the mix, because you actually get some of the muzzle flashes that are smaller, not like a misfire, but you just don't get a perfect muzzle flash every single time when using a real gun. So we wanted to incorporate some of that, so that there's some of that in the mix. But there's also just sort of that really cool, not so realistic, but gritty look of the sparks and things like that it's much more apparent in this collection than in our older ones. And again, that's just to bring something fresh and give you something new to work with, especially stylistically. Just more options there.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff in there. Very sparks heavy. So like, if you, depending on like what vibe you're going for, I recommend like going to that page and just looking at the hover previews of all the assets, because you can really like go for a specific look depending on which one you get. And I think that's really cool.
Love too how there's so many different muzzle devices too that doesn't seem to be as much in the older collections. So
yeah, definitely brought in some new different muzzle devices. And if you don't know what that is, the muzzle device is the actual attachment on the end of the barrel that gives those different looks. So you may get the star shape out of one of them. With the muzzle device for the sniper, you get like a blast out the front and two large blasts out the side, as well as some additional little tiny ones up and down. And so that muzzle device is what actually goes on the end of the barrel and gives the different flames, the different shapes and sizes to the muzzle flash.
Pretty sick stuff. I think we have another collection coming up.
So yeah, we also shot some new blood and gore stuff that has been asked for a good while. So we have brain splatters, which you were just seeing there on scene or on screen, and then we have some slasher blood splatters, and we have some blood pools and some different dripping blood. Some of those are a little bit they were released a few months ago, but these new blood splatters and things, they're that slasher style, horror films, things like that. We also have the brain splatters, which actually have like chunks of debris in it that's looking like brains and meat. Just that nasty, gory. Everybody always wants more gore. They're like, just max it out, give it to us. And so that's what we did here. Some of them, like you can see here, actually like stick to the surface and drip down. Really nasty to make that concoction on set. But some cool stuff, and people seem to like those.
I want to take a second. You mentioned the blood pools and highlight those because there are a few assets, uh, carpet pools, like blood pooling on
Yes.
carpet. And so it's got that kind of the way the blood wiggles through it and kind of soaks in a little bit. And in snow also, those are two of my favorite I think we've released because it's just like, it's something I haven't seen anywhere else, but I see so many different uses for it.
Yeah, the different surfaces, it makes a huge difference on the way that the liquid behaves and the way that it looks in comp. And it was really cool to get to actually experiment with all of that this time around and do several different surfaces, because last time in volume one, it's all just a clean surface. So it's very predictable what's happening. And this time we were able to make it less predictable, more organic, and get those completely different looks that you just would not be able to fake.
So sick. I'll be playing around with them plenty in the future.
For sure. Yeah, and the last thing I'll hit on real quick before we jump to the next thing is Ground Fires Volume 3. This is a really cool collection. Yes, we do have two other collections of Ground Fire, but again, this brings some new variations to the mix with fire trails that are igniting like what you see there. We have some very large fires in here, some smaller to medium fires as well. We have a lot of ignitions. We have ones that are fully ablaze. We have high angle where we were shooting from with the camera 20 plus feet in the air, shooting down on it, getting those high angle sort of top down views. And these all include like some subtle ground lighting as well. So they're just going to make compositing easier and faster. Yes, you're going to still need to add ground lighting depending on your shot. Like, you know, if you have a nighttime shot, you're going to want even brighter ground lighting. But they do have some of that already in there, which is just going to make things faster and easier and more realistic because the lighting is actually from the fire. So you're getting the real result of what the fire would be doing, lighting the ground around it.
Do you have, if you had to add like some ground lighting, do you have any like quick go-to methods you go to, or is it always kind of a long process, different for each shot?
I mean, it's going to matter on, you know, what the ground surface is. If it's something reflective, if it's something that's more diffuse, it's not very reflective, then yes, you're going to definitely have different results there, both from like, are you duplicating the footage and making it look like a reflection, or are you just adding like a glow? Definitely always, you're going to need a lot right at the base of the fire, right where it touches. It's sort of like a contact shadow. When someone is standing on the ground, the shadow at the bottom of their foot, right around and underneath their shoe, that's always going to be the darkest. Well, it's the exact opposite here. The lighting right at the base of the fire is always going to be the brightest. You're going to need to have it be bright. It's just not going to look right if that fire is not bright right around where it's actually touching the ground, because the light fall off. How light works, the further away you get from the light source, it falls off, not in a straight line, but actually sort of like in a curve. And so things really close to it need to be extra bright. Things get further away, the light falls off, and you can sort of look up and see how light works like that, and look up some examples of real fire. But then definitely it's going to need the flicker. It's going to need to sort of match the flicker of the fire. So one thing I know, Nuke has a tool called the curve tool that you can actually measure the changes of brightness of your element. So you can throw that on, select the fire as your source, and it will animate the brightness of another object to the changes in brightness of your fire. So in that case, if you have fire that's growing or shrinking in size and flickering, and you get fire that's going up into the air and then it dissipates really quickly, it's going to capture those changes in brightness, and it's going to actually match your glow animation to that. So that's a very quick way to do it without hand animating and trying to find the right flicker settings.
And you said that was Nuke, right?
Yeah, the curve tool in Nuke. And I'm sure there's other stuff like plugin wise and things that you could get for After Effects. I just know that one's built into Nuke. Really
So
cool.
at the end of the day, the answer is always composite inside of Nuke. Nuke it seems like the key.
It's a great tool. I mean, I love it. Definitely. But everything has its place, and use what you have at your disposal. You can make some great content without it as well. But yeah, it is a very powerful tool, especially when you get into those advanced techniques.
What's your favorite software, Zach?
I guess mine would be Nuke.
Nuke?
Personally. Just the ability to not only have these more advanced tools, but also you have the ability to build your own stuff and to like write scripts, automate things. That's something you can do in other software as well. But the way it's built into Nuke, it's just there's a script editor directly in Nuke where you can run things, and we do that all the time to build out automations for processing. You can build out your own tools and math calculations for the way you want things to behave. And I actually use a lot of the LLMs like Claude, ChatGPT, these different LLMs that could write Python code. I use that all the time and write a quick script to automate something or build something that I don't have, and I can just throw it into Nuke and it works.
We've got a question here from Mr. Sniper Gaming. Which element in Action VFX's library is your favorite? That's a really good question.
That's a tough one. There's a lot to choose from.
In terms of new ones, I think the Molotovs are just so cool. That's just like it's a more unique one. There are a lot of unique ones we've released recently, but I really haven't seen like a Molotov collection before.
As far as I know, I don't know of anyone else that has those. I could be wrong, but that's a pretty cool collection.
Yeah, that's definitely up there. I also really enjoyed the Windy Fires. I enjoyed doing that, and I'm really happy with the result we got from that. We have a contributor product, Directional Explosions. That's also up there on my list. It's something I've wanted in the library for a long time, and we just didn't have the right things aligned to make it happen. But one of the contributors made these, and it's explosions coming out sideways. So it has obvious directionality to it. The heat still interacts, and so it rises up afterwards. But there's some that are along the ground. So like if you had a building with an explosion out the side, like think of big store glass windows or something like that, it would be great for that. We also have some that don't have the ground interaction. That's a really cool collection as well.
And I'll say any of our blood bursts. I'm a blood guy, so The Bloodburst collections, the Blood Mists. I love having all of them at my disposal. Which again, 30% off right now. We have another question. Are there plans to release more nuke compositing tutorials?
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
We hear the demand for nuke and we want to deliver. So that's definitely in the pipeline.
Yeah, and definitely check out if you haven't already. We released last week, 2 weeks ago, a few weeks ago, a demo of Nuke 17. Maybe Wyatt or Zach, do you want to go into more details about that?
Yeah, so this tutorial, Sam went over some of the new features in Nuke 17. They have been rebuilding the 3D system in Nuke, and this goes through some of those improvements, some of those new features and usability features, but they've done a full overhaul of the 3D system, made it a lot more friendly for things like matte painting, tracking elements to 3D objects, a ton of different cool stuff. And they also have some stuff they're working on, more features for the 3D system soon. So that's something I'm sure we'll be able to hit on and do talk about some new aspects and things there.
Very nice. I saw another question that came in. Have you all ever done a cloud chamber shoot to get storm clouds rolling around and moving in? I don't believe we have those. I know we do have storm clouds. I don't know how we made those storm cloud assets though.
Yeah, the storm clouds we have, those are CG. So yeah, we don't have anything on the store right now using that technique. I know it is really cool, and um, like doing salt water and fresh water, and you can actually get like the interaction where it impacts the differences between the water, and you can see it's some really cool stuff, some techniques they used in films like Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters, and things. Yeah, but we don't have any at the moment.
Yeah, good suggestion though. Now, I'd actually like to take a second just to look at a couple comps we on the team have made. David, who is joining us for the first time on the live stream, worked on his first comp recently, and I think it's pretty sweet. So let's take a look at that. Huge explosion. Did you put those lens flares in too, David?
I did, yeah. So I'm not a compositor, but I just wanted to kind of, get to know the compositing world a little more. So I actually used some of Casey Ferris's tutorials in Fusion to kind of get my hands wet with some node-based compositing. Casey Ferris he's done some partnerships with us before, that kind of thing. But yeah, I think that's using gas explosion close-ups, grass and leaves bullet hits, and then one of the lens dirt collections.
That's sick. And for a first comp, that looks like surprisingly good, David. So like kudos on that.
Yeah, it was fun to work on. I definitely want to do more.
And then we have another shot here that Zach made.
Yeah, this one's from a little while back, maybe early last year, maybe. Uses the grasses and flowers collection. This one was a fun one. So let's see. Yeah, flowers and grasses. So this collection has patches of flowers and grass. So like when you see some of the purple and yellow flowers, and the grass is like some wheat fields, things like that you would see tall grass sort of swaying in the wind. And basically you can use those as sprites and as a particle in a particle simulator, And so that's what I used in Nuke with their particle emitter. And the trick was just getting the particles to stay there and not disappear. But it's just really simple geometry. I think it's 3 pieces of geometry that's like a plane up front, a plane in the midground, and then one in the background. And I just raised a few points on the planes, on the 3D cards, just sort of pulled a few points up, and then it sprinkled all the sprites around on the geometry and just made an entire landscape real easily. And then the background is photography, and then some trees sprinkled in from some of our plants and trees collections as well. And then the last thing I did was sort of put like just a noise pattern over all the grass. And that is because the clouds, I animated the clouds to move a little bit. And so it just gives a subtle light cast that shifts across the grass and sort of looks like the clouds are, casting their shadows, because you can notice that on a sunny, partly cloudy day. If you go out, you actually see the clouds moving across the ground. So there's just a little bit of fun with that mix.
That is something I actually noticed when I saw the comp. I was like, there are shadows moving across. And I actually meant to ask you about that and how you did that. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, it's just a simple noise, sort of dialed back everything, less contrast. It doesn't have too much information in the noise. It's really simple, large shapes, and it just drifts across the grass just a little bit.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's insane.
Well, thank you for sharing that, you guys. Now, on to the main event. We've got this month's Action VFX Challenge. So you all submitted, you worked hard. Our clips we used last time, or for this time, was Soldier running through field, agents operating hologram UI, and astronaut walking on green screen. So for anyone who doesn't know, we provide these practice footage library clips. There are several clips in each sequence, so you're welcome to use as many of the shots as you want and build out like a little action scene, or you can just use a single clip and put all your effort into that. But people work, and then on our Discord, they're able to submit and get the option to win some prizes. And what are those prizes? You get a Action VFX t-shirt and a spin at the mystery wheel, plus a dedicated shout out.
Woo. All right.
It's exciting stuff.
Yeah, let me just say those t-shirts are, we'd say it every time. Those t-shirts are awesome.
And it sounds like we're plugging it just for like the company, but they're legit.
No, we're seriously, yeah. It is like the comfiest t-shirt I have. I'm not sure where we got those printed, but yeah, if you win those t-shirts, I don't care what brand it is. That's a prize right there.
Yeah, it's really nice. But yeah, time to dig into the shots and see what everyone submitted. So our first clip here is from Anna. So Anna said she is currently a student. She didn't have a whole lot of time to work, but she wanted to submit something to the challenge. Looking at this, she used the astronaut walking clip, got a key of it, built out a background. I see a satellite dish on the left. So nice stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
I think a couple things you could do to polish it and get this over the line. I'm noticing slight issue with the frame rate, it seems like. Maybe in the way you have it loaded in your project, there could be a workaround. You could ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT helps me work through a lot of technical issues I have. But I think if you got that sorted out, that would help you with getting a little bit of a cleaner key on the background, just because I notice some of the green screens popping up. But you were able to get a lot of it, and it seems like you added a reflection, motion track that onto the face. You color matched the person to the background, which is something I see a lot of people skip over. They don't realize that after you green screen key, you need to color match the person to the plate they're put in to get it looking naturally blended. But yeah, nice stuff. I like the use of dust assets or atmosphere floating across the ground.
Yeah, one thing I'd say, and again, I'm not a compositor, so untrained eye here, but something I think could help it would be some of that dust, the way you can see it in the background, but then as he walks forward, it's foreground dust. So maybe just adding a key around him and having him go in front of the dust, so it's actually background dust. I think that could help with some of the 3D look to it.
One thing our coworker Sam always tells me when I use the air particles is to layer. Put one close to camera, one like closer to the actor, and then one way off in the background. So maybe if you grabbed like 3 of these assets and you layered one in front of the actor, one behind, and then place one going over kind of the hills in the background, I think that could help add a lot of depth to that atmosphere in the shot. Yeah, good stuff.
Displaced fog had some movement too.
Mm-hmm. All 30% off, I believe, right now. But on to our next shot from JCat.
I really appreciate that the time was taken to add the helmet and the helmet animation in.
When I first watched it, I only thought the visor was CG. I was like, okay, they masked out the visor, added that in, and then I saw the breakdown. I was like, I did not realize he didn't even have a helmet on in the clip. Yeah, good stuff. Lens flare to help tie everything together. Showing the sun just peeking through. All those stars in the background. I think one thing, there might be a subtle twinkle on the stars. I honestly think you can maybe push it a little further just to add a little more movement in the background. But I'm liking the composite and everything. I think maybe, I'm not sure how you do this, but adding stars to the reflection of the visor could look really cool as well.
I'd say what could help with this one the most, in my opinion, would be getting the helmet to cover more of the helmet that was on set. Because if you could just see the face through the CG helmet that you've added, I think that would really help sell it, to not see a second layer of cloth behind the helmet. And also those tracking markers on that original helmet, it would hide those as well and help sell that better.
Good advice.
I was really happy to see someone actually taking the time to do the object tracking and the helmet animation with this.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, that's good because I didn't even notice it at first, which is like the best visual effects are the invisible effects.
Yeah, I like that. Anyone who takes time to do breakdown too. That.
Love breakdowns.
Yeah.
On to our next submission, we have from a series regular, Webbo. This is pretty sick.
Yeah.
Again, good work on color matching the person to the plate. Like the background, I think that looks good. Extra animations thrown in there as well.
Sound design adds a lot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of assets going on in here.
Yeah, it looks like He's using some of our sci-fi planets in that one. That shot right there.
Maybe our stars and nebulas for the space background too.
Yeah.
I like the lightning coming off.
I love how you can see the kind of the moons and the other planet in the background of the final shot in the sequence there.
I know it's a small aspect, but I think my favorite part about this is the integration of the robot welding on the spaceship in the opener. Like the assets were used to support that story really well. It's nothing flashy with the sparks, but it's well done and just goes to, like, obviously there's a lot of work in the 3D side. I'm guessing that's 3D. I don't know that for sure, but so I'm guessing that's the majority of the work went into all the 3D animation and everything like that. And then those are just supporting the story. But I think that's really well done.
Yeah, I did. That's a good point you bring up, like with the sparks and stuff interacting with the hands working on the ship. Yeah, there's just a lot built out in this scene that really helps tie it all together. So good stuff. And we have a second submission from Webbo. Also, Webbo saw David's comp and decided to play around with the running soldier as well.
Nice, I love that.
Again, sound design I think is great on that.
Yeah, the sound design adds a lot. I really like the opening shot.
Yeah, that looks really good. I love all the water splashing out.
Yeah, the dust looks really good to me too. Curious to hear your thoughts on this, Zach. To me, the water looks a little bit like washed out. Are you seeing the same thing?
It's tricky. It's that's definitely a hard use. Like that's a difficult thing to pull off just right. I think what you're seeing is sort of the thickness of the water. I'm guessing what you're saying when you say washed out, like it doesn't look quite thick enough. One trick that I know of when working with something like where you have rain or water splashes is not only using it like the element itself to overlay, but you can actually use that as a matte to also blur the background. So when you see rain and
that's smart. That's smart,
light, like the streak is, it's blurred if you take a photo, but through that it is refracting the background and it's not going to be very obvious. It's something you're sort of going to more feel rather than see specifically. But if you use this asset, if you blur the background, the whole comp, and then matte that, put that behind the water, it's just going to add some extra thickness to the water and also bring in some of those realistic or the surrounding colors into the water just a little bit. It's not going to be as noticeable with like a water explosion as it would be, say, with rain. That's a little more subtle and less of the white water, but it does give a little extra substance to the water.
Yeah, I will say this is like a very bold shot to go for, especially since this was his second submission. Like the thing is just whipping together. It's a very ambitious shot. So I'm very impressed with how he was able to pull it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, on to our next submission from Matt MCM.
Man, you all just surprised me with like the full scene build outs and like full CG background replacements and everything. I'm always like, man, you guys are going above and beyond.
And they had a week less, I believe, for this competition due to Christmas coming up.
Yep, and sound design too on this one.
I love the little like can flying across the screen.
I think Matt was in the chat. Are you still in the chat, Matt?
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you, Matt, about what it was like making this.
Yeah, what was the most challenging part of this shot?
Like the lightning, the glow, all that stuff is good. Glad other people are loving the small breakdowns as well.
Oh, there he is.
Good stuff, Matt. Happy to have you to see your submissions every month. You're putting in the work. It looks nice. Yeah, good stuff. On to our next submission from Angle Reserve.
Nice, nice. We also got a response from Matt saying the most difficult stuff, yeah, the animation to work with the hand and the foot flying. Yeah, I would imagine like, yeah, tracking, making sure the animation of the screen is actually looking right with all the hand movement. That's something you really don't think about, but you notice when it doesn't work right. So same thing like with people scrolling on phones if they've done a screen replacement. It's like even just the scroll speed, if you don't get that nailed with the finger movement, it's going to be pretty obvious because we're all so used to seeing that.
I heard a story on the new Dungeons and Dragons movie, which is surprisingly good. That movie was honestly really funny. There's a guy who does magic, and he said he would make the weirdest hand symbols he could just to see what the visual effects artist would come up with. And the shot cuts to the artist like just mad dogging the camera, like so upset with all the intricate movements the guy has done. And
yeah, that's cruel.
Yeah, it makes you think that like you don't think about all the like subtle interaction and like timing that'll have to go into that to make it look good.
Yeah, it probably cost them another $50,000 by doing that.
Well, looking at this shot, the motion tracking
really clean. Good.
Yeah, the lighting is also really nice. Like it's hard to tell that he's not actually in the shot. That's really cool.
Yeah, matching the lighting to the shot, really well done. The compositing, you know, the colors, the tone, the levels, all of that.
Do these look like our Canyon assets to you, Zach?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'll echo what David said. The color looks really good. I like the sky. It's a very like specific kind of time of day lighting they went for, and I like it a lot.
Yeah, it looks like in that last shot he has some subtle lens flares too, or lens dirt or something.
The sky really well composited, especially that planet in the first shot blends nicely with the atmospheric effects. Looks like you can see the atmosphere building as we go back into the background. It all looks natural. Doesn't look like anything's too hazy. But yeah, very, very well done.
Good job with the blur. Yeah. This is a really nice shot. Oh, and for anyone joining right now, if you want to join in on the next competition, you can head on over to the Action VFX Discord where we share all the details, and you just got to create a submission based on the practice footage library clips we provide, submit it to the hashtag submissions channel, and you can be a part of the next live stream. Yeah, on to our next shot. Oh, our final shot by, and sorry if I mispronounce your name, Letitia Matsuoka.
Hey, really nice.
That was a sick shot.
Again, the amount of softwares being used and, background replacement, like location change, a full army added in the background, simulations. It's crazy.
They've got those the bright glow on every explosion too, kind of like what you were talking about with the way the fire lights up the ground. It also lights up, if you look to the left, the explosion lights up all the soldiers running towards it.
Yeah. I love the limping dude. He's my favorite.
The one thing I would add, and this comes down strictly to personal bias, you did nothing wrong. I would love to see blood mist and just like blood chunks flying out of those explosions when the guys are on them.
We need some blood explosions.
Yeah.
Also, the soldiers really match the real soldier in the clip, which I think helps them look like even more real. Like they're all in the same gear and stuff. Yeah, that's a great shot.
Yeah, I love the dirt, like the ground debris left over from that first explosion. That adds a lot.
Oh yeah, you're right.
It makes it feel like it was actually there. It's not just a clean line with the smoke. Like the smoke fades away, we see that crater appear. Looks really nice. But yeah, I think one of the things that's done really well in this shot is what you said, the lighting from the explosion. Actually really bright. It's timed right to match the explosion, but it's very bright, lighting up everybody around it. And that is, you would get something like that. You can even see it on the guy on the far right there. He's getting a little bit of the lighting.
Oh yeah, wow. Yeah, that's really impressive. Great motion blur on everything too. And shout out for the sky replacement.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to the end of the challenge. Now it's only thing we have left to do is pick our winner. So drum roll, please. Our winner is Letitia Matsuoka. And again, sorry if I mispronounced that name, but that was a really good job on that comp there. But also incredible work, everyone else. We loved seeing what you guys made, and we appreciate that you guys take the time to put all this effort into a comp and submit it to the challenge.
Yeah, really well done. Yeah. We also have one more winner for just participating in the chat. So I've got a little spinner here. It's spinning. Let's hear a drum roll. Okay, it is Mr. Sniper Gaming 7323. Are you still in the chat?
Mr. Sniper? You have won a few assets from us. We will be contacting you shortly to give you all the information and get those to you.
Sniper, send us an email at support, and that way we have your email and stuff, and we'll yeah, looks like he's still in the chat. we'll get you those assets. So send us an email to support@actionvfx.com, and I'll get those free assets to you.
Oh, one last thing before we go over to the prize wheel for the challenge winner. I see a question. What if I am not participating in the challenge? Can I get my VFX show reel evaluated? You left a comment, but I'd like your opinion on the stream. We'd love to go over people's work beyond just the challenge. So make sure to share it with us again. There is the share your work channel where people can comment and give feedback. Everyone in the community, but also us who work at Action VFX will respond to it. But yeah, we'd love to incorporate more prompts from you guys in the future. So we'll be keeping that in mind. With that being said, let's get on over to the prize wheel. So this is for the VFX challenge winner. They're getting a Action VFX t-shirt, a dedicated shout out, but also whatever we award them from here. Let's see.
I hope it's good.
The Sorcerer's Vault.
Hey, nice.
That's a solid collection. Yeah, you're going to have that'll definitely come in handy for future challenges, but also any sci-fi magic stuff you want to create. Congratulations.
Nice. Congrats.
Yeah, congrats again to our winners. Our winner of the challenge will be reaching out to you on Discord to get you all your prizes, get your information. We'll be sharing that comp with everyone. So if you missed it, you'll have the chance to see it. And also tease what's going to be next month's challenge. You're going to have the options to use aerial cities at night, Warzone firefight, or man unconscious and house fire. And again, some of these have multiple shots in them. So if you want to build out a sequence, you're more than welcome to do whatever you'd like. We just want to see something cool. So we're giving you guys a little heads up. Everyone else will find out about what clips are being used in the challenge tomorrow. You guys get a little head start. And because of this stream being brought forward a week, you have an extra week now to make your submissions. So instead of being constrained, you have some breathing room to really, really make something that kicks butt.
Yeah.
So,
one thing I'd add too, because VFX Mint sale just kicked off. It's a very short flash sale, so make sure you get on that. But it's 30% off everything, and that includes individual assets. So if you're just like, man, I just need a couple assets to be able to enter next month's challenge, then start today. It ends on, I guess it ends on the 20th, so it ends on Saturday. Head over to the site and grab either individual assets, a subscription plan. Those start around $41 with the discount. And yeah, all that you can find on the site. So make sure you do that today before we forget.
Yeah, stockpile now because you never know. There's so many assets that can just be sprinkled into everything. So now is the time to grab them.
Yeah, let's get this last question. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Yep, there's the email address.
Yes, if anyone needs to contact support at actionvfx.com. But with that being said, that brings us to the end of our stream. Congratulations to all the winners, and thank you again for everyone who submitted. We greatly appreciate it. And go grab your assets at 30% off, and we will see you guys next month.
Yeah, thanks for joining, y'all.
See you, everybody.